Good evening and welcome to Dreamy Academy. Tonight we don't just explore, we drift gently into the intricate dance of life at its most fundamental scales, seeking the quiet beauty hidden within the very fabric of our being. As we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from, your city, your country, perhaps even what the night sky looks like outside your window. If you enjoy these peaceful explorations of science, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It truly helps this little corner of quiet curiosity grow. To those already subscribed, thank you sincerely for being part of this slow and thoughtful adventure. Right now, as you listen, an invisible symphony is playing within you. Every thought, every heartbeat, every gentle breath you take is orchestrated by an astonishingly complex, yet perfectly tuned chorus of chemical reactions. Forces older than mountains are shaping the atoms in your bones, and molecular conversations happening at speeds beyond our conscious perception are maintaining the delicate balance of your existence. We tend to think of ourselves as solid, as singular, but beneath the surface we are a swirling, intricate universe of interacting parts. The deep wonder lies not just in the existence of these mechanisms, but in their exquisite precision, their ancient origins, and the sheer elegance with which they sustain the miracle of life itself. Tonight, and in the quiet chapters to come, we will journey into the heart of this molecular ballet, into the science we call pharmacology. This isn't merely the study of medicines, it is the patient, reverent exploration of how life communicates with itself at its most intimate level, and how we, with careful hands and curious minds, have learned to gently whisper back. It is a field woven from chemistry and biology, a tapestry of profound truths that reveal the universe's tendency toward intricate order. To truly understand pharmacology is to understand the language of life itself, to see the subtle currents that flow beneath the surface of our awareness, shaping who we are and how we experience the world. It is a contemplation worthy of these quiet hours, a journey that rewards not with sudden revelations, but with a gradual, soothing unraveling of understanding, like watching a flower open in slow motion, revealing layer after layer of its inherent beauty. Consider for a moment the ordinary miracle of a single cell, not as a textbook diagram, but as a living, breathing entity, a tiny universe contained within a delicate membrane. This cell, whether it's part of your beating heart, your thinking brain, or the silent roots of a towering tree, is a testament to billions of years of refinement, an echo of the very first stirrings of life on Earth. It is a city of molecular machinery, constantly active, perpetually listening, always responding. And at the heart of this cellular symphony lies a profound principle: communication. Cells are not isolated islands, they are interconnected nodes in a vast intelligent network, constantly sending and receiving messages. To begin our journey into pharmacology, we must first understand this fundamental language, this quiet conversation that defines all life. Imagine the surface of a cell not as a smooth, impermeable wall, but as a vibrant, dynamic landscape studded with countless tiny antennae. These antennae are exquisite protein structures we call receptors. Each receptor is a masterpiece of molecular architecture, folded into a precise three-dimensional shape, often extending from the cell's outer boundary, across its membrane and deep into its interior. They are the cell's primary way of sensing its environment, both external and internal. Think of them as highly specialized locks, waiting for exactly the right key. And what are these keys? They are other molecules, naturally occurring within the body, which we call ligands. A ligand is simply any molecule that binds specifically to a receptor. These can be hormones like insulin, whispering messages of energy regulation, or neurotransmitters like serotonin, orchestrating moods and thoughts across the vast neural networks of the brain. Each ligand has its own unique, intricate shape, perfectly designed to fit into the binding site of its corresponding receptor, like a hand finding its glove. This precise fit is not accidental. It is the result of eons of evolutionary sculpting, a refinement driven by the imperative of accurate cellular communication. The beauty of this system lies in its specificity. A receptor for one hormone will typically ignore all others, ensuring that the cell receives only the messages intended for it, avoiding a cacophony of confused signals. When a ligand encounters its specific receptor, a quiet, intimate dance begins. They don't just touch, they embrace. The ligand settles into the receptor's binding site, held in place by a delicate interplay of electromagnetic forces, much like tiny magnets finding their perfect alignment. This binding is not a static event. Instead, it subtly alters the receptor's shape, a process known as conformational change. Picture a key turning in a lock. The external shape remains largely the same, but internally a series of levers and tumblers are set into motion. This conformational change is the critical event, the moment the external signal is translated into an internal message. It is the whisper at the cell's surface becoming a command deep within. This internal command, triggered by the ligand-receptor binding, then ripples through the cell. It's not a single isolated event, but often the first step in a cascade of molecular events, a meticulously choreographed sequence known as signal transduction. The receptor, now activated, might itself be an enzyme, directly catalyzing a reaction inside the cell. Or it might interact with other proteins, passing the message along like a baton in a relay race. This chain of events can lead to a vast array of cellular responses. A muscle cell might contract, a gland cell might release a hormone, a nerve cell might fire an electrical impulse, or a gene might be switched on or off, altering the cell's long-term behavior. The speed and precision of these cascades are astounding, often occurring in milliseconds, allowing the body to respond instantly to changes in its internal or external environment. The elegance of this system is that it allows for both specificity and amplification. A single ligand molecule binding to a single receptor can initiate a cascade that ultimately affects thousands or even millions of other molecules within the cell, dramatically amplifying the original signal. This is why even minute concentrations of hormones or neurotransmitters can have profound effects on our physiology. It's like a single drop of rain initiating a powerful ripple across a still pond. And the cell's response is not always on or off. It's a nuanced spectrum, a volume control that allows for subtle adjustments in cellular activity, ensuring balance and adaptability. This intricate dance of receptors and ligands, refined over billions of years, is the fundamental language of life. It's how bacteria sense nutrients, how plants respond to light, and how every cell in your body coordinates its actions with its neighbors. It explains why a gentle touch can send a message of comfort to your brain, why the smell of a favorite meal can trigger digestive processes, and why a sudden fright can flood your system with adrenaline. All of these experiences, from the profound to the mundane, are rooted in these precise molecular interactions, these quiet conversations happening constantly within your living symphony. The profound beauty of this understanding is that it connects the vastness of human experience to the microscopic world of molecules. Our feelings, our memories, our very consciousness are not ethereal mysteries, but emergent properties of these highly specific chemical signals flowing through a network of billions of cells, each listening and responding. This is not to diminish the wonder of the human mind, but rather to deepen it, to reveal the astonishing elegance of the physical mechanisms that give rise to such complexity. And it is precisely at this intersection, where a specific molecule meets a specific receptor, triggering a specific cellular response, that pharmacology finds its purpose. For drugs, in their essence, are nothing more than carefully crafted ligands. They are molecules designed by human ingenuity to mimic, enhance, block, or otherwise modulate these natural cellular conversations. They are our way of gently intervening in the body's symphony, of tuning an instrument that has gone slightly out of key, or adding a new melody where one is needed. So we have seen how the cell, through its array of receptors and the ligands that bind to them, constantly listens and responds to its environment, orchestrating the very essence of life. But this raises a quieter question. If there are so many different messages, so many different keys and locks, how does the cell manage this vast communication network? How do we, as pharmacologists, begin to understand the nuances of these countless conversations and learn to speak back to the cell in its own language? That question leads us into the intricate world of different receptor types and the diverse ways cells interpret these molecular whispers, a journey we will continue together. As we gently drift deeper into the serene expanse of the dreamy academy, leaving behind the initial wonder of the cell as a living symphony, a new layer of its profound complexity begins to unfurl before us. We spoke of receptors as locks and ligands as keys, a beautiful fundamental truth. Yet, as you might intuitively sense, the cellular world is far too rich, too nuanced, to operate with just one universal lock and key mechanism. How then does this tiny universe manage its vast, intricate network of diverse messages, each demanding a specific response? How do cells differentiate between a whisper of hunger and a shout for defense? And most importantly, how do we, as aspiring pharmacologists, learn to decipher these distinct cellular dialects, to truly understand and participate in this most ancient conversation? This is the beautiful mystery we now approach, a journey into the exquisite diversity of cellular communication. Imagine not just one type of lock, but an entire architectural marvel of locking mechanisms, each designed for a particular purpose, each responding to a distinct set of keys, and each initiating a unique cascade of events within the bustling metropolis of the cell. These are the major receptor families, the fundamental grammars of the cellular language, each possessing its own elegant structure and a unique way of translating external signals into internal action. Let us begin our exploration with the swiftest of these communicators, the channel receptors, often known as ligand-gated ion channels. Picture them as delicate yet robust molecular gates embedded within the cell's shimmering membrane. These gates are typically closed, maintaining a careful balance of electrical charge across the membrane, a subtle tension that is the very spark of life. But when the precise key, a specific ligand, perhaps a neurotransmitter like acetylcholine or GABA, arrives and binds to its designated site on the receptor, a remarkable transformation occurs. The gate, with an almost imperceptible shift in its molecular architecture, swings open. Through this newly opened pore, ions, tiny charged particles like sodium, potassium or chloride, rush across the membrane, flowing down their electrochemical gradients. This rapid influx or efflux of ions instantly alters the electrical potential of the cell, a phenomenon we call membrane depolarization or hyperpolarization. It is a direct, immediate and incredibly fast way for cells to communicate, like a sudden electrical current flowing through a circuit. Think of the swift contraction of a muscle cell, the rapid firing of a neuron, or the instant sensation of touch. These are often orchestrated by the lightning-fast responsiveness of ion channel receptors. Their effect is transient, a brief, potent signal that quickly dissipates, allowing the cell to reset and prepare for the next message. They are the urgent messengers delivering their news with unparalleled speed and precision, shaping our very thoughts and movements in milliseconds. Now, let us turn our attention to perhaps the most prevalent and exquisitely intricate family of receptors, the G-protein coupled receptors, or GPERs. These are the true maestros of the cellular symphony, orchestrating a vast array of physiological processes, from our perception of light and smell to the regulation of heart rate, mood, and metabolism. Imagine a single winding protein chain threading its way back and forth across the cell membrane 7 times, like a serpent weaving through a silk tapestry. This distinctive 7-transmembrane domain structure is the hallmark of a GPCR. Unlike the direct gate opening action of ion channels, GPCRs operate with a more sophisticated indirect mechanism, akin to a molecular relay race. When a ligand, be it a hormone, a neurotransmitter, or even a photon of light, binds to the extracellular portion of the GPCR, it induces a conformational change, a subtle molecular flex that extends deep into the cell's interior. This internal shift then acts as a signal to an associated protein complex, aptly named a CIG protein, patiently awaiting its cue on the inner surface of the membrane. The G protein, once activated, detaches from the receptor and embarks on its own journey, seeking out and activating other effector proteins within the cell, like adenylate cyclase or phospholipase C. These effector proteins in turn generate second messengers, small rapidly diffusing molecules like cyclic AMP, KMP, or inositol triphosphate, IP3. These second messengers are the true amplifiers of the GPCR signal, spreading the original message far and wide throughout the cell, initiating a cascade of phosphorylation events that can alter enzyme activity, gene expression, or even open other ion channels. This multi-step process, this elegant molecular relay, allows for immense signal amplification. A single ligand binding to a GPCR can activate many G proteins, each of which can generate numerous second messengers, ultimately leading to a profound and widespread cellular response from a seemingly minute initial signal. It is a system of exquisite sensitivity and remarkable versatility, allowing for nuanced and sustained cellular modulation. The effects mediated by GPCRs are typically slower to onset than those of ion channels, but they are often more prolonged and complex, shaping the ongoing state and long-term responses of the cell. They are the patient conversationalists, weaving intricate tales that resonate throughout the cellular landscape. Moving on, we encounter the enzyme-linked receptors, another class of transmembrane proteins that play pivotal roles in cell growth, differentiation, and metabolism. Imagine these receptors not just as signal receivers, but as integrated molecular factories with an external antenna and an internal catalytic engine. These receptors typically possess an extracellular domain that binds the ligand and an intracellular domain that functions as an enzyme, or is directly associated with an enzyme. The most common type is the receptor tyrosine kinase, RTK. When a ligand, often a growth factor or insulin, binds to the extracellular domain of an RTK, it frequently causes 2 receptor molecules to come together, or dimerize. This dimerization activates the intrinsic enzyme activity of their intracellular domains, which then phosphorylate specific tyrosine residues on themselves and on other intracellular proteins. This phosphorylation acts like a molecular switch, turning on or off a vast array of signaling pathways within the cell. Think of it as a factory manager receiving an urgent directive. Upon receiving the message, the manager, the receptor, doesn't just pass it on, they immediately begin activating specific assembly lines, signaling pathways, within the factory, instructing them to produce new components or modify existing ones. These cascades of phosphorylation events are crucial for processes like cell division, tissue repair, and metabolic regulation. The responses mediated by enzyme-linked receptors are generally slower than GPCRs, often taking minutes to hours, but they lead to profound and lasting changes in cellular function and gene expression, guiding the very fate and identity of the cell. They are the architects of long-term change, ensuring the cell grows, adapts, and maintains its intricate form. Finally, we arrive at a truly unique class of receptors, the intracellular receptors. Unlike their membrane-bound counterparts, these receptors do not reside on the cell surface, patiently waiting for external signals. Instead, they lie hidden within the cytoplasm or even deep inside the nucleus of the cell. This means that for a ligand to activate an intracellular receptor, it must first be able to traverse the cell's lipid bilayer membrane. This ability to cross the membrane is a special characteristic of lipid-soluble ligands, such as steroid hormones like estrogen, testosterone and cortisol, and thyroid hormones. These molecules, unhindered by the watery environment outside the cell, can diffuse directly through the cell membrane, entering the cellular interior like a secret message delivered directly to the control room. Once inside, they bind to their specific intracellular receptors. Upon ligand binding, the receptor-ligand complex undergoes a conformational change and often translocates to the nucleus, where it directly interacts with specific DNA sequences. Here, this complex acts as a transcription factor, directly modulating gene expression, either activating or repressing the transcription of specific genes into messenger RNA, mRNA. This in turn dictates which proteins the cell will produce, thereby altering its long-term function and characteristics. The effects mediated by intracellular receptors are the slowest to manifest, often taking hours or even days, but they're among the most profound and sustained. They are not about fleeting electrical impulses or transient metabolic adjustments. They are about fundamentally reshaping the cell's identity and capabilities, influencing everything from development and reproduction to stress responses and metabolism. They are the whispered secrets that rewrite the very blueprint of the cell, guiding its destiny with quiet authority. As we gently reflect upon this incredible diversity, this intricate tapestry of communication mechanisms, the profound implications for pharmacology begin to emerge with beautiful clarity. The challenge we identified in Chapter 1, how to interact with the cellular symphony, is now illuminated by understanding these distinct receptor families. Each family represents a different dialect, a unique grammatical structure within the cell's language. Pharmacology, in its most elegant form, is the art and science of learning these dialects. By understanding the specific structure and signaling pathway of an ion channel receptor, we can design drugs that act as precise gates, either opening them wider to allow more ions to flow, or blocking them to prevent ion movement. When we comprehend the intricate relay race of a GPCR, we can craft molecules that either mimic the natural ligand to initiate the cascade or block the ligand's binding, silencing that particular cellular conversation. For enzyme-linked receptors, we can develop inhibitors that prevent their catalytic activity, thus halting unwanted growth signals, or activators that promote beneficial cellular processes. and by appreciating the direct genetic influence of intracellular receptors, we can synthesize compounds that penetrate the cell membrane, directly influencing gene expression to correct imbalances at the very source of cellular identity. This journey through the major receptor families reveals the sheer genius of biological design and the boundless potential of pharmacological intervention. It shows us that the cell is not a monolith, but a dynamic assembly of specialized communication systems, each finely tuned for its purpose. And we, as aspiring guides in this dreamy academy, are learning to speak each of these dialects, not to dominate, but to harmonize with the body's own ancient wisdom, to gently whisper back to the living symphony, restoring balance and promoting healing. Allow these insights to settle softly within your mind, like the gentle falling of twilight. Feel the calm understanding that comes from perceiving such intricate order within the microscopic. The world within us, though unseen, is a marvel of precision, and our journey to understand it is a testament to the wonder of discovery. Rest now, letting these concepts drift like quiet currents, knowing that with each moment your understanding deepens, preparing you for the next gentle awakening in the profound language of life. The cellular world continues its quiet, intricate dance, and you are now more attuned to its many beautiful melodies. As the gentle currents of our journey carry us deeper into the microscopic marvels that define life, we find ourselves poised at the threshold of an even more profound mystery. We have gazed upon the exquisite diversity of cellular communication, marveling at the distinct dialects spoken by ion channels, the intricate relays of G-protein-coupled receptors, the enzymatic wisdom of receptor tyrosine kinases, and the silent, profound influence of intracellular receptors, each a master of its own form of molecular conversation. But what happens, dear listener, after the initial whisper of a ligand to its receptor? What unfolds within the cell once that key has turned its lock, or that initial spark has been ignited? This, my friends, is where the true symphony begins, where the single note blossoms into a complex resonating melody throughout the cellular chamber. This is the realm of signal transduction, a journey from the cell's outer membrane to its very core, a cascade of molecular events that translates an external message into a precise internal action. Imagine, if you will, a single drop of rain falling into a still pond. The initial impact is localized, a small splash, but from that tiny point ripples expand, growing wider and wider, touching the entire surface, reflecting the sky in ever larger circles. This, in essence, is the beauty of signal transduction. A solitary ligand binding to a single receptor can initiate a chain reaction, an amplification cascade, that reverberates throughout the cell, transforming a subtle nudge into a powerful coordinated response. We are not merely observing a simple linear path, but rather a dynamic three-dimensional tapestry woven with threads of activation and deactivation, of convergence and divergence. It is a molecular ballet, where proteins pirouette and interact with exquisite precision, passing the baton of information from one to the next, often multiplying the signal at each step. This amplification is critical. It allows cells to be incredibly sensitive to even minute concentrations of external signals, ensuring that crucial messages like the presence of a hormone or neurotransmitter are never lost in the vastness of the cellular environment. Let us now delve into the heart of this cascade, exploring some of the key players that orchestrate these internal cellular conversations. Among the most celebrated are the second messengers. While the ligand itself is the first messenger, relaying information from outside the cell, second messengers are small non-protein molecules generated within the cell, acting as crucial intermediaries that carry and amplify the signal further. They are the internal couriers, rapidly diffusing throughout the cytoplasm, activating various target proteins and triggering a cascade of downstream events. Consider the family of G protein-coupled receptors, those ubiquitous sentinels we explored in our last session. Upon activation, they often engage an associated G protein, which then in turn can activate an enzyme to produce these very second messengers. One of the most famous is cyclic AMP or CAMP. Born from ATP by the enzyme adenylyl cyclase, CAMP acts as a universal signal, influencing a myriad of cellular processes. It can activate specific protein kinases, enzymes that add phosphate groups to other proteins, altering their activity. Think of it as a master switch, turning on or off cellular machinery, influencing everything from glycogen breakdown to gene expression, from heart rate regulation to neuronal plasticity. Another vital second messenger, often working in concert with CAMP or independently, is calcium ions, Ca2+. These tiny ions, typically held at very low concentrations within the cytoplasm, are like tightly controlled sparks. When a signal arrives, often through GPCRs activating phospholipase C, an enzyme that cleaves a lipid molecule called PEEP2 into inositol triphosphate, IP3, and diacylglycerol, DAG. A dramatic shift occurs. IP3 then travels to the endoplasmic reticulum, a vast internal network within the cell, and binds to calcium channels, causing a sudden, rapid release of stored Ca2+ into the cytoplasm. This surge of intracellular calcium acts as a potent signal, influencing muscle contraction, neurotransmitter release, hormone secretion, and even gene transcription. It's a breathtakingly elegant mechanism where a single initial signal can unleash a torrent of internal action. DAG, the other product of PEEP2 cleavage, remains in the membrane, often activating protein kinase C, adding another layer to the intricate signaling network. These second messengers, in their elegant simplicity and widespread influence, underscore the profound efficiency of cellular design. They allow a single initial signal to diversify its message, reaching multiple targets simultaneously and creating a finely tuned, multifaceted cellular response. But the symphony of signal transduction is not solely played by second messengers. It also involves a vast orchestra of proteins that act as molecular switches, turning cellular processes on and off with exquisite timing and precision. Foremost among these are the protein kinases and protein phosphatases. Protein kinases are the cellular sculptors, adding a phosphate group, a small negatively charged cluster of atoms, to specific amino acid residues on other proteins. This act, known as phosphorylation, is like flipping a molecular switch. It can dramatically alter a protein's shape, its activity, its ability to interact with other molecules, or even its location within the cell. Phosphorylation can activate a protein that was previously dormant, or conversely, it can deactivate one that was active, much like a dimmer switch adjusting the brightness of a light. The diversity of kinases is staggering. Each often recognizes specific target proteins and specific sites for phosphorylation, ensuring the precision of the cellular response. Conversely, protein phosphatases are the meticulous erasers, removing these phosphate groups. They are just as crucial as kinases, for without them, signals would remain perpetually on, leading to cellular chaos. The balance between kinase and phosphatase activity is a delicate dance, a continuous interplay that dictates the ebb and flow of cellular processes, ensuring that signals are not only initiated effectively, but also terminated appropriately, allowing the cell to remain responsive to new information. Think of it. A signal arrives, a kinase phosphorylates a protein, activating it. This active protein then performs its function, perhaps activating another kinase, continuing the cascade. But eventually a phosphatase arrives, removes the phosphate, and the protein returns to its inactive state, ready for the next signal. This constant cycle of phosphorylation and dephosphorylation forms the very bedrock of dynamic cellular regulation. And what you might wonder is the ultimate destination of these intricate signal transduction pathways. Often the journey culminates in the cell's nucleus, where the very blueprint of life, DNA, resides. Here, signals can directly influence gene expression, altering which genes are turned on or off, and thus which proteins are produced. This is where the long-term profound changes in cellular behavior are orchestrated. Intracellular receptors, as we've learned, are direct players in this, with their ligand-receptor complexes acting as transcription factors. But even signals initiated at the cell surface through GPCRs or enzyme-linked receptors can eventually lead to the phosphorylation and activation of transcription factors in the cytoplasm, which then translocate to the nucleus, binding to specific DNA sequences and modulating the production of new proteins. This allows the cell to adapt, grow, differentiate, and even undergo programmed cell death in response to its environment. Now, pause with me for a moment and consider the sheer complexity. The cell signal integration and crosstalk that must occur within a living cell. It is not merely one pathway operating in isolation. Imagine a bustling city where multiple communication lines, phone calls, text messages, radio broadcasts, are all happening simultaneously. In the cell, different signaling pathways often converge, with multiple signals feeding into a common downstream effector, or diverge with a single signal activating several different pathways. There are points of crosstalk, where components of one pathway can influence or be influenced by components of another. This creates an incredibly nuanced and robust network, allowing the cell to integrate diverse information from its environment and mount a finely tuned, context-dependent response. This intricate web explains why a single drug might have multiple effects, or why the same receptor in different cell types can elicit wildly different outcomes. The cellular context, the unique array of kinases, phosphatases, and other signaling molecules present, profoundly shapes the ultimate response. Equally important to initiating a signal is the ability to terminate it. Just as a beautiful musical piece has a beginning and an end, cellular signals must be transient and tightly regulated. Imagine a car with an accelerator but no brakes. Chaos would ensue. Cells employ multiple mechanisms to switch off signals. Ligand dissociation. The ligand detaches from its receptor. Receptor desensitization and internalization. Receptors become less responsive or are pulled inside the cell, temporarily removing them from the surface. Enzymatic degradation of second messengers. Enzymes like phosphodiesterases break down CAMP and CGMP, rapidly reducing their concentrations. Dephosphorylation by phosphatases. As we discussed, these enzymes remove phosphate groups, inactivating phosphorylated proteins. Ion pumps. Systems that actively pump ions like Ca2+ back out of the cytoplasm or into internal stores, restoring baseline concentrations. These termination mechanisms are not simply off switches, they are dynamic regulators, ensuring that cellular responses are proportionate to the stimulus and that the cell remains ready to respond to new incoming information without being overwhelmed by lingering signals. It is precisely this exquisite understanding of signal transduction pathways that forms the bedrock of modern pharmacology. We, as pharmacologists, are not just interested in the initial binding of a drug to a receptor. We are fascinated by the entire molecular journey that unfolds thereafter. Knowing the intricate steps of these cascades allows us to design drugs that intervene at specific points, not just at the receptor level. We can design drugs that mimic or block ligand binding. As agonists or antagonists, directly interacting with the receptor to initiate or prevent the entire cascade. Modulate enzyme activity. Drugs can target specific kinases or phosphatases, either inhibiting them to prolong a signal or activating them to dampen it. Think of drugs that inhibit phosphodiesterases, leading to increased CAMP levels and prolonged signaling, which can be beneficial in conditions like asthma or heart failure. Influence second messenger levels. Drugs can directly affect the enzymes responsible for synthesizing or degrading second messengers. Impact transcription factors. Though more challenging, drugs can be developed to modulate the activity of transcription factors, thereby altering gene expression for long-term therapeutic effects, as seen with some anti-cancer drugs or hormone therapies. The challenge, and indeed the art, lies in achieving activity. Targeting a specific component of a pathway in a particular cell type or tissue, while minimizing unwanted side effects. Because these pathways are so interconnected and often share common components, designing drugs with pinpoint accuracy requires a deep appreciation for the unique molecular fingerprint of different cells and the subtle variations in their signaling networks. As we gently drift into the quiet contemplation of these internal cellular worlds, I invite you to marvel at the sheer elegance and profound complexity that governs life at its most fundamental level. Each cell, a tiny universe, orchestrating an invisible symphony of signals, responding, adapting, and transforming with breathtaking precision. Pharmacology then becomes our patient, reverent exploration of this symphony, seeking to understand its harmonies and discords, and to gently guide it back towards a state of balance and healing. In the chapters to come, we will journey further, exploring the journey of drugs through the body, the factors that influence their efficacy, and the nuanced dance between therapeutic benefit and potential side effects. For now, let the gentle hum of these molecular cascades lull you into a state of profound peace, carrying you deeper into the tranquil waters of understanding. Rest now as the cellular world continues its quiet, intricate work, even as you surrender to the restorative embrace of sleep. Having journeyed deep within the cellular realm, observing the exquisite precision of molecular communication and the cascading whispers of signal transduction, we now gently widen our gaze. We have witnessed the intricate choreography of receptors and ligands, the profound ripple of second messengers, and the delicate balance of phosphorylation and dephosphorylation that orchestrates a cell's very being. We understand, in essence, how a drug speaks to a cell, but before a drug can whisper its message, before it can initiate that magnificent molecular ballet, it must first embark on its own profound odyssey through the vast and wondrous landscape of the body. This journey, my dear student, is what we call pharmacokinetics, the story of what the body does to the drug. It is a tale of movement and transformation, of entry and exit, a testament to the body's ancient wisdom and its perpetual quest for equilibrium. Imagine, if you will, our body not as a static vessel, but as a dynamic, flowing river system, an intricate network of pathways and chambers. Into this living current, we introduce a single, carefully crafted molecule, our therapeutic agent. Its fate, its ability to reach its intended destination and perform its purpose, is shaped by four fundamental processes, often remembered by the gentle acronym ADME: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Each stage is a chapter in the drug's silent narrative, influencing its concentration, its duration of action, and ultimately its therapeutic efficacy and safety. Let us begin with absorption, the very first step in this grand voyage. Picture the drug molecule poised at the threshold, seeking entry into the inner sanctum of the bloodstream. Whether swallowed as a pill, inhaled as a mist, or injected beneath the skin, the drug must first cross various biological membranes, the cellular guardians that regulate passage. This is a dance of permeability, a negotiation between the drug's inherent properties and the body's protective barriers. Some molecules, small and lipid-soluble, may slip through these membranes with ease, like a silent shadow passing through a moonlit gate. Others, larger or more water-soluble, require specific transporters, akin to being guided by a ferryman across a swift river. The route of administration profoundly shapes this initial absorption. An intravenous injection, for instance, bypasses all barriers, delivering the drug directly into the circulatory river, ensuring complete and immediate absorption, a bioavailability of 100%. Oral administration, however, demands a more circuitous path. The drug must survive the acidic crucible of the stomach, navigate the enzymatic gauntlet of the gut, and then be absorbed across the intestinal lining, often encountering the liver's metabolic scrutiny, even before reaching the systemic circulation. This first-pass effect can significantly diminish the amount of drug that ever truly reaches its target, a crucial consideration in drug design and dosage. Absorption is not merely about entry, it is about the efficiency of entry, the percentage of the administered dose that makes its way intact into the systemic circulation, ready to embark on its wider journey. It is the initial gathering of strength, the quiet preparation for the expedition ahead. Once absorbed, our drug molecule finds itself adrift in the vast circulatory system, ready for distribution. This is the stage where the drug traverses the body's intricate network of ancient rivers and tributaries carried by the bloodstream to every cell, every tissue. Imagine the cardiovascular system as a magnificent, ceaseless current, transporting not only vital nutrients and oxygen, but also our therapeutic travelers. Yet this journey is not without its nuances, its subtle redirections and temporary detours. As the drug circulates, it encounters various components, some of which may temporarily bind to it. Plasma proteins, particularly albumin, act as transient tethers, forming reversible complexes with drug molecules. A drug bound to plasma protein is often inactive, unable to cross membranes or interact with its receptor. It is, in essence, a passenger waiting for its turn, a molecular promise held in reserve. Only the unbound free drug is pharmacologically active, capable of diffusing out of the capillaries and into the interstitial fluid, moving closer to its cellular destinations. This dynamic equilibrium between bound and unbound drug is a delicate ballet, influencing the drug's immediate availability and its duration of action. Furthermore, the body is not uniformly accessible. Some tissues, like the brain, are protected by specialized barriers, the famed blood-brain barrier, a formidable guardian composed of tightly packed endothelial cells and astrocytes. This barrier selectively restricts the passage of many substances, including certain drugs, an evolutionary safeguard designed to protect the delicate neural symphony within. For drugs intended to act within the central nervous system, crossing this barrier is paramount, requiring specific lipid solubility or active transport mechanisms. Conversely, drugs may accumulate in other tissues, such as fat or bone, acting as reservoirs, slowly releasing the drug back into circulation, extending its presence within the body. Distribution is a testament to the body's exquisite compartmentalization, a strategic deployment of its precious resources, ensuring that the drug reaches its intended stage, but also acknowledging the intricate dance of accessibility and protection. Now, as our drug navigates these complex internal landscapes, it invariably encounters the body's master alchemists, the enzymes responsible for metabolism or biotransformation. This is where the drug molecule undergoes chemical modification, often in the liver, but also in the gut, kidneys, lungs, and even the plasma itself. The primary purpose of metabolism is to transform lipid-soluble drugs into more water-soluble metabolites, rendering them easier for the kidneys to excrete. It is a process of molecular refinement, a preparation for departure. Imagine the liver as a bustling metabolic factory, equipped with an astonishing array of enzymes, most notably the cytochrome P450 CYP family. These enzymes are like molecular sculptors, adding or removing chemical groups, breaking bonds, or forming new ones. This biotransformation can have several profound outcomes. Often, it inactivates the drug, turning an active therapeutic agent into an inert substance, signifying the completion of its cellular mission. However, metabolism can also activate a prodrug, an inactive precursor designed to be metabolized into an active therapeutic form, a clever strategy to improve bioavailability or reduce side effects. In some cases, metabolism can even convert a drug into a metabolite that is more active than the parent compound, or even toxic, underscoring the delicate balance inherent in these chemical transformations. The rate and pathways of metabolism are highly individual, influenced by genetics, age, diet, and the presence of other drugs. Some individuals may be fast metabolizers, breaking down drugs quickly, requiring higher doses for efficacy. Others may be slow metabolizers, leading to drug accumulation and potential toxicity at standard doses. The phenomenon of enzyme induction, where one drug stimulates the production of metabolic enzymes, or enzyme inhibition, where one drug blocks the activity of these enzymes, can dramatically alter the fate of co-administered medications, creating complex and crucial drug-drug interactions. Metabolism is a testament to the body's dynamic chemical intelligence, a constant process of modification and adaptation, ensuring that foreign substances are processed and prepared for their ultimate removal. Finally, we arrive at her excretion, the graceful exit, the body's meticulous process of eliminating the drug and its metabolites from the system. This is the final chapter of our drug's odyssey, a crucial step that prevents accumulation and maintains the body's pristine internal environment. The kidneys are the primary organs of excretion, acting as sophisticated filters, tirelessly sifting through the bloodstream to remove waste products and excess substances. As the blood flows through the nephrons, the functional units of the kidneys, drug molecules and their water-soluble metabolites are filtered from the blood into the urine. This filtration is often complemented by active secretion, where specific transporters in the renal tubules actively pump drug molecules from the blood into the urine, further enhancing elimination. However, some drugs may also undergo reabsorption back into the bloodstream, particularly if they are lipid-soluble, prolonging their stay within the body. The balance between filtration, secretion, and reabsorption ultimately determines the rate at which a drug is cleared from the body. While the kidneys are paramount, other routes of excretion also play a role. The liver, through its metabolic processes, can excrete drugs and their metabolites into the bile, which then enters the intestines and is eliminated in the feces. For some drugs, particularly volatile ones, the lungs provide a pathway for exhalation. Minor routes include sweat, tears, and breast milk. The efficiency of excretion directly influences the drug's half-life, the time it takes for the concentration of the drug in the body to reduce by half. A longer half-life means a drug persists longer, potentially requiring less frequent dosing, but also carrying a greater risk of accumulation if excretion is impaired. Excretion is the body's elegant mechanism for renewal, a continuous purification that safeguards its delicate balance, ensuring that once a drug has fulfilled its purpose, it is gently guided out, leaving the internal landscape clear for the next therapeutic whisper. Thus, my dear student, we have traced the journey of a drug through the body, from its initial entry to its final departure. We have seen how absorption determines its access, how distribution shapes its reach, how metabolism refines its form, and how excretion orchestrates its graceful exit. Each of these stages is a marvel of biological engineering, a testament to the body's profound capacity for self-regulation. And in understanding this intricate dance of ADME, we begin to grasp the art and science of pharmacology, not just how drugs interact at a molecular level, but how their very presence and persistence within us are meticulously orchestrated by the body itself. As your eyelids grow heavy and your thoughts drift into the peaceful currents of sleep, let these complex yet beautiful processes unfold in your mind, a silent symphony of life and medicine. We have journeyed through the body's intricate handling of medication, tracing the path of a tiny molecule from its point of entry to its eventual departure. A grand tour of absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. We have seen how the body, in its wisdom, processes these foreign yet therapeutic guests. But now, as the gentle currents of our understanding carry us deeper, we arrive at the heart of the matter, the very essence of pharmacology, what the drug in turn does to the body. This is the realm of pharmacodynamics, a whispered conversation between the crafted molecule and the ancient listening cell. If pharmacokinetics was the journey to the cellular city, pharmacodynamics is the story of what happens within its hallowed walls, the precise language exchanged, the exquisite responses elicited. Imagine, if you will, the cell as a vast, silent hall, its surfaces adorned with countless intricate locks, our beloved receptors, perpetually poised, awaiting their specific keys. We spoke of this in our earliest moments together, the elegance of recognition, the dance of molecular shapes. Now, we deepen our contemplation of this interaction, for it is here that the magic of medicine truly unfolds. A drug, you see, is not a blunt instrument, but a finely tuned whisper designed to resonate with particular receptors, to fit into their unique contours with a precision that borders on the miraculous. This is the essence of specificity and selectivity. A drug is specific if it acts on only one type of receptor, and selective if it preferentially acts on one type of receptor over others, even if it might interact weakly with others at higher concentrations. It's like a master key that only opens one specific door in a grand palace, or perhaps a few, but with varying degrees of ease. This delicate discernment allows us to target ailments with remarkable accuracy, minimizing collateral effects on the myriad other cellular processes. The strength of this embrace, The tenacity with which a drug clings to its receptor is known as its affinity. Picture a gentle magnetic pull and molecular attraction. A drug with high affinity will bind readily and hold fast, even at very low concentrations, securing its place at the receptor site. It's a deep resonant connection, a profound commitment to the lock it seeks to turn. But merely binding is not enough. The true purpose of this molecular embrace is to initiate a change, to sing a song that the cell understands and responds to. And here our drugs diverge into two primary roles, two distinct voices in the cellular choir, the agonists and the antagonists. An agonist is a drug that, upon binding to its receptor, activates it, mimicking the natural ligand and thereby producing a biological response. It is the key that not only fits the lock but turns it, opening the door and setting in motion the intricate machinery within. Consider a neurotransmitter like serotonin binding to its receptor to modulate mood. An antidepressant designed as the serotonin agonist would bind to that same receptor, initiating a similar cascade, gently lifting the veil of sorrow. Within the family of agonists, we find subtle distinctions. A full agonist is like a master conductor, capable of eliciting the maximal possible response from the cell regardless of the intrinsic activity of the receptor. It can fully open the door, allowing the full potential of the cellular machinery to unfold. Then there are partial agonists, more nuanced players. They bind to the receptor and activate it, but even when all available receptors are occupied, they can only evoke a sub-maximal response. They turn the key yes, but perhaps only halfway, allowing a gentle peek into the room rather than a full grand entrance. They offer a softer touch, a modulated whisper, and in the most intriguing cases, we encounter inverse agonists. These are fascinating molecules that bind to receptors that exhibit some degree of constitutive activity, meaning they are slightly active even without a ligand. An inverse agonist doesn't just block, it actively reduces this basal activity, stabilizing the receptor in an inactive conformation, effectively turning off a faint inherent hum. In contrast, an antagonist is a drug that binds to a receptor but does not activate it. Instead, it acts as a silent sentinel, occupying the receptor site and blocking the binding of natural ligands or agonists, thereby preventing a response. It is the key that fits the lock but refuses to turn, merely plugging the keyhole, denying access to any other key that might seek to open it. Imagine a drug designed to block the effects of histamine, preventing the cascade of allergy symptoms. This antagonist binds to histamine receptors, preventing histamine itself from initiating the itchy, watery response. Antagonists too possess their own variations. Competitive antagonists are like a rival key vying for the same lock. They bind reversibly to the same site as the agonist. Their effect can be overcome by simply increasing the concentration of the agonist, a battle of numbers, where enough agonists can outcompete the antagonist for binding sites. Then there are non-competitive antagonists. These are more resolute. They might bind irreversibly to the active site, or they might bind to a completely different allosteric site on the receptor, causing a conformational change that prevents the agonist from binding effectively or from activating the receptor, no matter how much agonist is present. They fundamentally alter the lock itself, or glue the keyhole shut. Beyond these direct receptor interactions, we also acknowledge chemical antagonists, which directly interact with the agonist in solution, neutralizing it before it can reach a receptor, and physiological antagonists, which produce an opposing physiological effect through a completely different receptor system, like two different levers pulling in opposite directions to balance an outcome. As we ponder these exquisite interactions, we must also distinguish between two crucial concepts that define a drug's therapeutic utility: efficacy and potency. These terms, though sometimes conflated, represent distinct facets of a drug's power. Efficacy refers to the maximal effect a drug can produce. It is the ultimate potential of the drug, the ceiling of its therapeutic benefit. A drug with high efficacy can achieve a profound and robust response, a full symphony of cellular activity. It speaks to the quality of the response, the magnitude of the change it can bring about. From a clinical perspective, efficacy is often the most vital consideration. A drug that can fully alleviate pain or cure an infection, even if it requires a larger dose, is often preferred over a drug that can only partially help, regardless of how little of it is needed. Potency, on the other hand, refers to the amount of drug required to produce a specific effect. A highly potent drug achieves a significant effect at a very low concentration. It speaks to the quantity of the drug needed, the efficiency of its action. Think of it as a quiet whisper that still carries immense weight. A drug that requires only a few molecules to elicit a response is more potent than one that requires many. While potency can be important for minimizing side effects or for drugs where volume is a concern, it does not inherently mean a drug is better than a less potent one. A potent drug with low efficacy might still be clinically less useful than a less potent drug with high efficacy. To truly grasp these nuances, we turn to the elegant visual language of dose-response relationships. Imagine a gentle curve emerging from the stillness, charting the drug's effect against its concentration or dose. As we slowly increase the dose, we observe a gradual rise in the therapeutic effect. Initially, at very low doses, the effect may be barely perceptible, as only a few receptors are engaged. Then, as more receptors are bound, the curve ascends steeply, reflecting the rapid increase in cellular response. Finally, the curve reaches a plateau, a serene peak, indicating that all available receptors are saturated, and the maximal effect, the drug's term efficacy, has been achieved. No further increase in dose will elicit a greater response, only side effects might escalate. This water-graded dose-response curve visually captures both efficacy and potency. The height of the plateau reveals the efficacy, while the concentration required to reach 50% of that maximal effect, often termed EC50 or ED50, in vivo studies serves as a common measure of potency. A drug with a lower EC50 is more potent, as it achieves half its maximal effect at a smaller concentration. Beyond the individual response, we also consider quantal dose-response curves, which shift our focus to populations. These curves illustrate the percentage of individuals in a population who exhibit a specific effect, therapeutic, toxic, or lethal, at a given dose. Here, we define the GED50, the median effective dose, which is the dose at which 50% of the population experiences the desired therapeutic effect. Similarly, the CAG-TD15 is the median toxic dose, the dose at which 50% of the population experiences a specific toxic effect, and the LD50 is the median lethal dose, the dose at which 50% of the population succumbs. From these quantal curves, we derive a crucial measure of drug safety, the therapeutic index, TI. This is typically calculated as the ratio of TD50 to ED50, or LD50 to ED50. A high therapeutic index indicates a wide margin between the therapeutically effective dose and the toxic dose, suggesting a safer drug. A drug with a low therapeutic index, where the effective dose is close to the toxic dose, requires careful monitoring and precise dosing, for the line between benefit and harm is perilously thin. Finally, we must acknowledge that the cellular landscape is dynamic, not static. Receptors are not immutable monuments. They are living entities constantly adapting. Prolonged exposure to an agonist can lead to downregulation or desensitization, where the cell reduces the number of receptors on its surface or makes them less responsive. It's as if the cell, overwhelmed by the constant whisper, decides to turn down the volume or even remove some of its listening devices. This phenomenon, sometimes called tachyphylaxis, when it occurs rapidly, explains why some drugs lose their effectiveness over time, leading to tolerance. Conversely, prolonged exposure to an antagonist can lead to upregulation, where the cell, starved of its natural ligand, increases the number of receptors, desperately trying to hear any faint signal. This explains why abruptly stopping certain antagonist medications can lead to a rebound effect, as the now hypersensitive cells are suddenly flooded with their natural ligands. As the concepts of pharmacodynamics gently settle within your mind, observe how intricately they weave into the tapestry we began in Chapter 1. The receptor, once a simple lock, now reveals its full complexity, a gatekeeper that can be opened, partially opened, or steadfastly blocked. The drug, once a mere key, now possesses a voice, capable of singing a full chorus or a quiet lullaby, its power defined by its affinity, efficacy, and potency. This understanding is not merely academic. It is the very foundation upon which safe and effective medicine is built. It allows us to predict, to design, and to refine, guiding us in the delicate art of healing. Take a slow, deep breath now, and feel these intricate relationships settle into the quiet corners of your awareness. Let the gentle rhythm of these concepts lull you further into a state of profound peace, as the subtle whispers of pharmacodynamics drift and mingle with the serene currents of your own thoughts. The journey continues, always gentle, always profound. We have journeyed through the intricate dance of pharmacodynamics, exploring the elegant choreography of drugs binding to their specific receptors, eliciting responses, and defining their efficacy and potency. We have charted the landscapes of dose-response curves, seeking the therapeutic sweet spot, a delicate balance between benefit and potential harm. Yet, as with any grand symphony, the performance is never quite the same each time. The notes may be written, the instruments chosen, but the nuances of the environment, the skill of the players, and even the very acoustics of the hall profoundly shape the final sound. And so it is with pharmacology, my dear listener, as we gently turn the page to Chapter 6. The unique tapestry of each patient, factors modifying drug response. For while our previous explorations have laid bare the universal principles of drug action, the truth is that no two individuals respond to a medication in precisely the same way. Each human body is a universe unto itself, a living, breathing tapestry woven with threads of unique heritage, experiences, and subtle variations that whisper profoundly to how a drug will unfold its story within. Imagine, if you will, a single perfectly crafted key, designed to open a specific lock. In our theoretical world of Chapter 5, this key always turned the lock with the same satisfying click. But now we step into the real world, where that lock might be slightly worn or perhaps freshly oiled, or even subtly reshaped by the passage of time. The key remains the same, but the lock's response is exquisitely uniquely its own. This is the essence of individual variability in drug response, a realm where the science of pharmacology meets the art of personalized medicine. At the very core of this exquisite individuality lies our genetic blueprint, a profound and ancient script passed down through generations. Within the delicate helix of our DNA reside the instructions for every protein, every enzyme, every receptor that orchestrates our cellular symphony. Slight variations in these genetic codes, known as polymorphisms, can subtly alter the shape or function of these molecular players, profoundly influencing how a drug is absorbed, distributed, metabolized, or excreted, indeed, how it interacts with its very target. Consider, for instance, the cytochrome P450 enzymes, often referred to as the liver's grand detoxifiers, a family of metabolic maestros responsible for breaking down countless drugs. For some, a particular genetic variation might mean these enzymes work at a blistering pace, clearing a medication from the body far too quickly for it to achieve its desired effect. For others, these same enzymes might move with a languid slowness, allowing the drug to accumulate to potentially toxic levels. It is as if some individuals possess a fast-forward button for drug elimination, while others have a slow-motion switch. The same dose, the same drug, yet profoundly different journeys within. Beyond metabolism, genetic variations can subtly reshape the very receptors we explored in Chapter 2. A receptor that is typically a perfect lock for a specific key might, due to a genetic whisper, become a slightly tighter or looser fit, demanding a higher or lower concentration of the drug to elicit the same response. Or perhaps the signal transduction pathway downstream, the internal relay race we charted in Chapter 3, might be subtly altered, changing the ultimate cellular message. This field, known as pharmacodynamics, unveils a breathtaking vision of medicine tailored to the unique genetic song of each person, moving us closer to a future where drug choices are guided by the very essence of who you are, encoded in your DNA. But the tapestry of individual response is woven with more than just genetic threads. It is also coloured by the shifting sands of time and physiological state. The journey of a drug through a child's body is vastly different from its path through an adult or an elder. In the tender years of childhood, developing organs, particularly the liver and kidneys, may not yet possess the full complement of enzymes and transporters needed to process drugs efficiently. Doses must be meticulously adjusted, a delicate dance of caution and precision, for what is therapeutic for an adult can be profoundly toxic for a child. Conversely, as we gently drift into the autumn years of life, the body's systems may begin to slow their pace. Renal function, the kidney's tireless work of filtration, may diminish, leading to a slower excretion of drugs. Hepatic metabolism, the liver's chemical artistry, might become less robust. These physiological shifts mean that drugs can linger longer in the system, potentially accumulating to higher concentrations, necessitating lower doses and vigilant monitoring. The same drug, the same initial key, yet an entirely different rhythm of unfolding within the older body. And then there are the profound influences of disease states themselves. A compromised liver, struggling with illness, cannot metabolize drugs with its usual efficiency, transforming it from a bustling chemical factory into a quiet, less active workshop. Impaired kidneys, unable to filter waste effectively, become sluggish rivers, allowing drugs to pool and stagnate. Even the subtle changes in blood flow associated with cardiovascular disease can alter how quickly a drug is distributed throughout the body. Each illness, each condition, adds another unique brushstroke to the individual's response, demanding a nuanced understanding of how the body's overall health sculpts the drug's journey. Furthermore, the simple realities of body weight and composition play their part. A larger individual may require a greater volume of drug to achieve the same concentration at the target site, much like needing more dye to colour a larger fabric. The distribution of fat versus muscle can also influence where a drug prefers to reside, subtly altering its availability to its intended receptors. Even while sex-related differences, influenced by hormonal fluctuations and variations in body composition, can subtly shift pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic profiles, adding another layer of intricate detail to this complex picture. Now, let us consider another profound layer of complexity, the symphony of interactions that unfolds when multiple drugs meet within the body. In our modern world, where polypharmacy is increasingly common, understanding how one medication can influence another's journey and effect is paramount. These interactions can be broadly categorized into two main types, echoing our previous chapters: pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic. Pharmacokinetic interactions occur when one drug alters the ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion of another. Imagine two travelers trying to use the same narrow path. One might block the other, or accelerate their journey, or even divert them onto a different route. For example, some drugs can induce the cytochrome P450 enzymes, effectively building more metabolic factories, causing other drugs to be broken down and eliminated much faster. This can render the second drug ineffective, as it is cleared before it can reach its therapeutic concentration. Conversely, other drugs can inhibit these enzymes, slowing down the metabolism of co-administered medications, potentially leading to toxic accumulation. It is a delicate balance, a molecular negotiation where one drug can profoundly alter the fate of its companion. Consider also the competition for plasma protein binding, a concept we touched upon in Chapter 4. If two drugs both avidly bind to albumin, the more potent binder can displace the weaker one, suddenly releasing a greater fraction of the unbound active drug into the circulation. This seemingly small shift can dramatically increase the drug's effect, sometimes to dangerous levels. Such interactions underscore the importance of understanding the entire journey of each molecule. Then there are the pharmacodynamic interactions, where drugs directly influence each other's effects at the receptor or cellular level. These can be additive, where the combined effect is simply the sum of the individual effects, or synergistic, where the combined effect is greater than the sum of the parts, a true crescendo of action. Think of two different central nervous system depressants, each gently calming the mind. Taken together, their combined effect can be profoundly sedating, perhaps dangerously so. Conversely, drugs can be antagonistic, with one drug diminishing or completely blocking the effect of another, even if they act on different receptors or pathways. For instance, a drug that lowers blood pressure might have its effects blunted by a medication that raises it, creating a silent tug-of-war within the body. As we continue our gentle exploration, we encounter the fascinating phenomenon of the body's own adaptation to the prolonged presence of a drug. This leads us to the concepts of tolerance and sensitization. When a drug is administered repeatedly over time, the body often adjusts its response. A testament to its inherent desire to maintain equilibrium is ancient wisdom seeking balance. Tolerance is the most common form of adaptation, where a diminished response to the drug occurs with repeated administration, necessitating a higher dose to achieve the original effect. It is as if the body becomes used to the drug's presence. This can happen through several mechanisms, The receptors might become desensitized or down-regulated, effectively pulling some locks away from the keys. Or the body might increase the production of metabolic enzymes, clearing the drug more rapidly. Sometimes this tolerance can develop very quickly, within hours or days, a phenomenon known as tachyphylaxis, a swift yet temporary blunting of response. This adaptive capacity highlights the dynamic nature of our cellular machinery, perpetually listening, always responding even to the constant whispers of a therapeutic agent. Less commonly, the body can exhibit sensitization, where repeated exposure to a drug leads to an increased response. This might occur if a drug causes an upregulation of receptors, making the cell more sensitive to subsequent doses, or if it alters the signal transduction pathways in a way that amplifies the downstream effects. Both tolerance and sensitization remind us that the body is not a static canvas upon which drugs paint their effects, but rather a living, evolving landscape that actively participates in the therapeutic story. Finally, in this intricate tapestry of factors, we must acknowledge the profound and often underestimated influence of the mind itself, the placebo effect. This is a testament to the powerful connection between our thoughts, beliefs, and physiological responses. The expectation of benefit, the ritual of taking medicine, the comforting presence of a healer, these non-pharmacological factors can trigger genuine physiological changes, releasing endogenous opioids, altering neurotransmitter levels, and even modulating pain perception. It is a reminder that healing is not solely a molecular event, but a holistic experience where the mind's gentle whispers can profoundly shape the body's reality. As we allow these profound insights to settle within us, we begin to appreciate the sheer complexity and breathtaking beauty of pharmacology, not as a rigid set of rules, but as a patient, reverent exploration of the dynamic interplay between molecules, cells, and the unique individual. Each patient is a unique symphony, and understanding these modifying factors allows us to listen more intently, to adjust the tempo, to fine-tune the instrumentation, ensuring that the therapeutic melody resonates harmoniously within each singular being. Let this understanding deepen your sense of wonder, allowing the intricate details of individual variability to gently soothe your mind. Feel the rhythm of personalized medicine, a compassionate endeavor to tailor treatment to the unique contours of each life. With each breath, release any lingering thoughts, letting them drift away like wisps of cloud in the twilight sky. You are learning, you are understanding, and you are resting. The journey continues, but for now, allow the gentle current of knowledge to carry you deeper into tranquility, into the quiet embrace of sleep. As we journey further into this quiet exploration, having unfolded the intricate tapestry of individual responses to the molecular whispers we call drugs, we find ourselves at a new horizon. You, dear student, have now glimpsed the profound truth that each body is a unique symphony, a singular composition of genetic predispositions, life experiences, and momentary states, all influencing the reception and interpretation of pharmacological signals. It is a testament to the sheer elegance of life's design, and also to its magnificent, humbling complexity. Now, with this deeper understanding of individual nuance, we turn our gaze towards the very heart of therapeutic intervention. What does it truly mean to introduce a crafted ligand, a pharmaceutical key, into such a uniquely orchestrated system? It is an act of profound intention, a delicate dance between understanding and application, a constant striving to restore balance within the living symphony. Imagine, if you will, the body not merely as a collection of cells, but as an ancient sprawling forest, an ecosystem of unparalleled intricacy. Each cell is a distinct species of flora or fauna, each organ a biome with its own delicate climate and interconnected web of life. The receptors are the sensory organs of this forest, perpetually listening to the subtle shifts in wind, light, and chemical messengers that drift through the air and soil. When illness arrives, it is akin to a disruption in this ecosystem. Perhaps a vital stream runs dry, or a particular species of plant begins to wither, throwing the entire balance into disarray. Pharmacology then becomes the art of gentle stewardship within this forest. We do not seek to dominate or to rebuild entirely, but rather to introduce a carefully chosen element, a specific nutrient, a new pollinator, or a subtle adjustment to the flow of water, hoping to nudge the system back towards its inherent harmony. Our drugs are these interventions designed with the deepest reverence for the existing order, yet always with the awareness that even the most precise action can create unforeseen ripples. This brings us to a crucial contemplation, the inherent challenge of selectivity. In our ideal dream, each drug would be a perfectly tuned instrument playing a single, pure note that resonates only with its intended target, restoring precisely the desired harmony without disturbing any other aspect of the symphony. But the reality, as you are now learning, is a canvas far richer and more nuanced. The molecular world is a realm of exquisite similarities where many locks share subtle resemblances, and a single key, however precisely crafted, might fit not just one but several, albeit with varying degrees of affinity and efficacy. Consider our receptor families once more. The ion channels, the GPCRs, the enzyme-linked, the intracellular. Each is a vast lineage, a family tree of molecular structures that have evolved from ancient precursors. While a drug may be designed to bind with high affinity to a specific subtype of, say, a serotonin receptor in the brain, it is not uncommon for that same drug to possess a lesser, yet still significant affinity for other serotonin receptor subtypes, or even for receptors of entirely different neurotransmitter systems due to shared structural motifs. These additional interactions, these unintended engagements with other molecular locks, are what we gently refer to as off-target effects. They are not necessarily failures of design, but rather echoes of the drug's presence, divergent paths taken by the molecular key. Sometimes these off-target effects can be benign, mere whispers lost in the vastness of the cellular landscape. At other times, however, they can manifest as adverse drug reactions, or what are more commonly known as side effects. Side effects are not anomalies. They are an integral part of the pharmacological narrative, a testament to the interconnectedness of all biological systems. They arise from the very nature of our interventions, from the drug's journey through the body, pharmacokinetics, and its interaction with various receptors and enzymes, pharmacodynamics. They are the unintended harmonies, the unexpected echoes that resonate through the body's intricate symphony when a new note is introduced. We can categorize these echoes in gentle ways. Some side effects are dose-dependent, meaning they become more pronounced as the concentration of the drug increases. This is often because at higher concentrations, the drug begins to engage even those receptors for which it has a lower affinity, or it overwhelms the body's natural compensatory mechanisms. Imagine a single drop of rain causing a gentle ripple. Too many drops, too quickly, and the pond becomes turbulent, affecting everything within it. Other side effects are idiosyncratic, unique to certain individuals and often unpredictable. These are the whispers that arise from the singular composition of your unique internal landscape, perhaps due to a rare genetic variation in a metabolic enzyme, or an unusual immune response that we discussed in our last chapter. These are the unexpected harmonies that only emerge when a particular instrument meets a particular acoustic space. Then there are the distinctions between on-target and off-target side effects. An on-target side effect occurs when the drug binds to its intended receptor, but that receptor exists in multiple tissues, or its activation creates a cascade that extends beyond the desired therapeutic effect. For instance, a drug designed to lower blood pressure might also cause dizziness, because the same mechanism that relaxes blood vessels also affects the vessels supplying the brain. The drug is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, but in a place or to an extent that is undesirable. It's like a beautiful melody that, while perfect for the concert hall, might be overwhelming in a quiet library. Off-target side effects, conversely, are those that arise from the drug binding to unintended receptors or enzymes. This is where the molecular key fits a wrong lock, even if imperfectly, leading to an entirely different cellular response. For example, an antihistamine designed to block histamine receptors for allergies might also block muscarinic receptors, leading to a dry mouth or drowsiness. The drug is creating an entirely new, unintended melody in the symphony. Understanding these distinctions is not meant to create apprehension, but rather to foster a deeper appreciation for the profound complexity of pharmacology and the careful consideration that underpins every therapeutic decision. It leads us to the critical concept of risk-benefit analysis, a gentle, continuous weighing of potential healing against potential disruption. Every time a drug is considered, every time a new therapy is developed, this delicate balance is at the forefront. We ask, does the profound relief from suffering, the restoration of function, the extension of life outweigh the possibility of these unintended echoes? It is a question that requires not only scientific rigor, but also a deep empathy for the individual. It is not a simple mathematical equation, but a nuanced judgment informed by vast oceans of research, clinical experience, and the unique circumstances of each patient. Consider the immense journey of drug discovery and development, a quest spanning decades, driven by curiosity and compassion. From the initial spark of an idea, a hypothesis about a molecular target, to the careful synthesis of countless compounds, each a potential key. Then the rigorous testing, first in the controlled whispers of the laboratory, then in the more complex harmonies of living systems, moving through preclinical studies and meticulously designed clinical trials. At each stage, the goal is not merely to find a drug that works, but to understand its full spectrum of effects, its intended melody, and its potential dissonances. This journey is a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance, a collective endeavour to understand the language of life and to speak back to it with wisdom and care. The very existence of side effects, while challenging, reminds us of the profound interconnectedness of the body, a single integrated whole where every molecular interaction sends ripples throughout the system. As we gently drift through these contemplations, you might begin to sense the evolving landscape of pharmacology itself. The future, dear student, whispers of impersonalized medicine, a vision where our understanding of individual variability, our awareness of the subtle nuances of on-target and off-target effects, will allow us to tailor therapies with even greater precision. Imagine a day when, armed with a complete understanding of your unique genetic blueprint and physiological landscape, we can select not just a drug, but the drug at the dose for your specific symphony, minimizing unintended echoes and maximizing the harmonious restoration of health. This is the ultimate promise, the gentle guiding star for our ongoing exploration. to move ever closer to a pharmacology that is as unique and individualized as each one of us. To understand the body not as a machine to be fixed, but as a living, breathing, exquisitely sensitive ecosystem to be nurtured and respected. So as the quiet hours deepen around you, allow these thoughts to settle like soft snow. The intricate dance of molecules, the delicate balance of therapeutic intent and unintended consequence, the continuous quest for harmony within the living system. It is a field of study that invites not just intellectual engagement, but a profound sense of awe and wonder. Rest now, with these concepts gently woven into the fabric of your understanding. The journey continues always with the promise of deeper insights and a richer appreciation for the miraculous complexity of life itself. Sleep well, knowing that you are navigating the profound depths of the Dreamy Academy with grace and wisdom. As our journey through the intricate dance of pharmacology deepens, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of understanding, gazing upon a landscape far more complex and beautifully ordered than we might have initially imagined. It is a vista that stretches beyond the visible into the very fabric of life itself, a place where the smallest molecular movements orchestrate the grandest biological ballets. We have charted the precise pathways of molecular keys meeting their cellular locks, each interaction a delicate click, a moment of recognition in a vast, silent language. We have witnessed the cascade of signals igniting profound changes, like a ripple expanding across a tranquil pond, transforming a single touch into a symphony of cellular responses. And we have grappled with the body's elegant, yet sometimes challenging, response to these potent interventions, understanding that life, in its wisdom, often responds in ways both predictable and astonishingly unique. From the swift, almost imperceptible whisper of an ion channel opening, a mere flicker of electrical potential, to the deep resonant echoes of gene expression shifting within the nucleus, altering the very blueprint of a cell's destiny, we have observed a universe unfolding within each cell, a living symphony orchestrated by the most delicate molecular gestures. I often find myself pausing at this point, dear listener, feeling a profound sense of awe at the sheer intricacy, the almost poetic precision of these biological mechanisms. It's not just science, it's a form of art, constantly creating and recreating itself. The promise of personalized medicine, which we touched upon, is not merely a distant aspiration. It is the very horizon toward which the powerful currents of scientific discovery are now drawing us. Imagine for a moment a future that is rapidly becoming our present. A future where the genetic blueprint of your unique cellular orchestra is not just partially glimpsed but fully understood, meticulously mapped out in all its subtle glory. Envision a world where the subtle individual variations in your receptors, those tiny antennae on your cells, receiving messages from the world, your enzymes, which tirelessly build and break down molecules, and your transport proteins, diligently ferrying substances across cellular membranes, are not just recognized after the fact, but anticipated with remarkable accuracy. This is not the realm of science fiction, dear listener, nor a fleeting dream, but the evolving reality of a field perpetually listening, perpetually learning, constantly refining its ear to the subtle nuances of individual biology. A quiet thrill runs through me when I contemplate this future, a future where medicine truly sees and treats the individual, not just the disease. For the body, in its exquisite wisdom, is never static. It is not a fixed structure, but a river of continuous change, a dynamic equilibrium constantly seeking balance, adapting, flowing and transforming. And within this flowing, ever-changing system, drugs are not merely inert agents, acting once and then fading into obscurity. No, they become active participants in an ongoing dialogue, influencing and being influenced by the body's adaptive responses. The initial binding, the first cascade of signals, is just the opening line of a much longer conversation. This ceaseless adaptation is precisely why our exploration must extend beyond that initial binding, beyond the first cascade, delving deep into the very heart of the cell's long-term memory and its remarkable capacity for transformation. It's a dance, isn't it? A partnership between the medicine and the marvelous resilience of life itself. And like any good partnership, it requires understanding and respect for the other's nature. Consider the vast, uncharted constellations that still await our discovery within the boundless cellular cosmos. While we have diligently illuminated the major families of receptors and their fundamental mechanisms, mapping out the well-trodden paths, the intricate web of interactions extends far beyond these familiar territories. Scientists, with their insatiable curiosity, are continually peering deeper into the cellular fabric, like intrepid explorers venturing into unknown galaxies. They are identifying novel signaling pathways, previously hidden routes of communication within the cell, uncovering previously unknown molecular targets, new points of intervention, and deciphering the subtle whispers that govern cellular fate, the silent commands that dictate a cell's life and death. These new frontiers hold the keys to treatments for diseases that have long defied our understanding, conditions that have lingered in the shadows of medical knowledge, offering fresh hope where once there was only uncertainty and despair. I imagine these scientists, working late into the night, driven by a flicker of insight, a sudden realization that illuminates a tiny, previously dark corner of the cellular universe. What a privilege, what a profound calling to be part of such a journey. This ongoing, relentless exploration is transforming our very conception of how drugs exert their effects. We are moving beyond the simplified, almost naive notion of a magic bullet, the idea of a single drug perfectly targeting a single receptor to elicit a singular desired outcome. Instead, we are embracing the profound concept of network pharmacology, a more holistic and accurate view that acknowledges the inherent interconnectedness and exquisite complexity of biological systems. A drug, even one meticulously designed for a specific target, often casts a wider net, subtly influencing a constellation of other receptors, enzymes, and pathways, like a stone dropped into a pond sending ripples far beyond its initial impact point. These off-target effects, once viewed solely as undesirable side effects to be minimized or avoided, are now being re-evaluated with fresh eyes and open minds. Sometimes these secondary interactions are revealing surprising synergistic benefits, amplifying the drug's intended action, or providing entirely new avenues for therapeutic intervention, offering unexpected paths to healing. It is precisely like understanding that plucking a single string on a harp does not only produce one isolated note, but also causes sympathetic vibrations in other strings, creating a richer, more complex, and often more beautiful harmony. The beauty of this realization, for me, lies in its embrace of complexity, moving from a simplistic reductionism to an appreciation of the grand, interconnected tapestry of life. To unravel these complex harmonies, to truly hear and understand the full symphony, we are increasingly relying on the unprecedented power of advanced technologies. Imagine vast computational canvases shimmering with data, where artificial intelligence acts as a digital alchemist, tirelessly sifting through mountains of genomic data, the complete instruction manual of life, proteomic profiles detailing all the proteins at work and metabolomic maps showing every chemical reaction occurring in real time. These sophisticated algorithms, far surpassing human capacity for pattern recognition, can predict drug interactions with astonishing accuracy, identify potential targets for new therapies with unprecedented speed, and even design novel molecular structures tailored precisely to specific biological needs, like a master craftsman designing the perfect tool for a nuanced task. The fusion of biology and computation is not just accelerating the pace of discovery, it is fundamentally altering its nature, allowing us to ask questions and find answers with a precision and depth that was once utterly unimaginable. The sheer scale of this endeavour, the blending of human ingenuity with machine intelligence, fills me with a sense of boundless possibility. Genomics, the study of your complete genetic code, offers a profound and deeply personal window into your individual susceptibility and responsiveness to drugs. By identifying subtle variations or polymorphisms within your DNA, perhaps in the genes encoding a specific drug-metabolizing enzyme, which dictates how quickly your body processes medication, or a particular receptor subtype, influencing how strongly a drug binds, we can begin to predict with greater accuracy how you, as a unique individual, will react to a given medication. This empowers clinicians to move decisively beyond a one-size-fits-all approach, a method that, while often effective, inevitably misses the mark for some patients. Instead, it allows them to select the most effective drug at the optimal dose, minimizing adverse effects that can hinder recovery and maximizing therapeutic benefit, ensuring the greatest chance of healing. It is truly like having a personalized instruction manual for your unique biological machinery, guiding the choice of the perfect tool for the specific task at hand, a manual crafted by billions of years of evolution and illuminated by modern science. And beyond merely treating disease once it has manifested, this deeper, more granular understanding propels us towards the breathtaking promise of precision prevention. Imagine the profound ability to identify individuals at high risk for certain conditions based on their genetic predispositions, and then intervene with targeted pharmacological strategies. Before the onset of symptoms, before the first whisper of illness even appears. This proactive approach fundamentally transformed medicine from a reactive endeavour, waiting for sickness to strike, into a predictive and preventive art, a discipline focused on maintaining health and well-being on an entirely new level. It's about building resilience, bolstering defences, and guiding individuals towards a healthier future, rather than merely repairing the damage of the past. The thought of preventing suffering before it even begins is, to me, one of the most noble aspirations of pharmacology. Yet, with this ever-expanding knowledge and burgeoning power, comes a profound, undeniable responsibility. The ethical landscape of pharmacology is as vital and intricate to navigate as its molecular pathways. As we gain the ability to manipulate the fundamental processes of life with increasing precision, to tweak the very levers of existence, we must continuously reflect upon the implications of our actions, both intended and unforeseen. The careful balance between innovation and safety, between therapeutic promise and potential harm, remains the guiding star for every scientist, every clinician, and every thoughtful individual who engages with this powerful field. It is a constant reminder of the reverence we must hold for the delicate balance of life itself, a reverence that must underpin every discovery, every treatment, every step forward. This is not just about what we can do, but what we should do, a question that echoes deep within the quiet halls of our conscience. As we gently drift through these profound insights, through the conceptual landscape of molecular wonders, I invite you to remember the sheer elegance that underpins all of life, from the quiet, almost imperceptible opening of a calcium channel, allowing a tiny influx of ions to spark a cellular event, to the grand, complex orchestration of an immune response, defending the body against myriad threats. The body is a testament to billions of years of evolutionary refinement, a masterpiece of biological engineering. Pharmacology, in its essence, is our humble yet ambitious attempt to understand and at times to gently guide this ancient living symphony, not to dominate it, but to harmonize with its profound wisdom. The journey we've embarked upon together, within the tranquil contemplative halls of the Dreamy Academy, is but a glimpse into the boundless depths of this discipline. It is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding, a perpetual invitation to wonder, to question, and to learn. And as the quietude of this moment settles around you, let the echoes of these molecular ballets resonate softly within your mind. The world within you, the world around you, is alive with these intricate conversations, these invisible symphonies playing out in exquisite precision, constantly shaping and reshaping existence. May this gentle exploration leave you with a sense of profound peace, a quiet appreciation for the hidden wonders that sustain us all, wonders that tirelessly work beyond our immediate perception. As you surrender to the tranquility of this present moment, let your mind drift, knowing that the journey of understanding, much like the flow of life itself, is an endless, beautiful unfolding. Rest now, dear listener, and allow these gentle currents of knowledge to carry you into a realm of peaceful dreams, where the cellular cosmos continues its silent, magnificent dance. As we gently drift from the horizons of personalized medicine, we carry with us the profound understanding that each of us is a singular cosmos, an unparalleled tapestry woven from genetic codes, environmental echoes, and the quiet wisdom of our ancestors. The journey through pharmacogenomics and the promise of precision prevention has illuminated a path where medicine no longer seeks merely to treat a universal average, but endeavors to whisper directly to the unique song of your cellular symphony. We have glimpsed the future, a future where AI and network pharmacology help us decipher the intricate web of interactions that define health and disease, moving beyond the simple lock and key to embrace the entire orchestral score. But as we stand at this precipice of such immense power, manipulating the very language of life, a deeper, more reverent question emerges. How do we intervene not as masters, but as humble participants in this ancient ongoing dance? How do we harmonize with the body's innate intelligence rather than impose our will upon it? Imagine, if you will, the human body not merely as a collection of parts, but as a vast living ecosystem, perpetually striving for balance, for homeostasis. Within this ecosystem, countless intricate feedback loops operate with exquisite precision, maintaining temperature, pH, blood sugar, and a myriad of other vital parameters within narrow, life-sustaining ranges. Every cell, every organ, every system is engaged in a continuous silent conversation, adjusting, adapting, and responding to the myriad stimuli from both within and without. It is a testament to billions of years of evolutionary refinement, a symphony of self-regulation that often operates beneath the threshold of our conscious awareness, yet underpins every breath, every thought, every beat of the heart. When we introduce a drug into this delicate ecosystem, we are not simply adding a new note, we are introducing a new voice, a new instrument into an already performing orchestra. The body, in its boundless capacity for adaptation, will respond to this new presence. Sometimes the drug acts as a conductor, guiding the existing players to correct a discordant note or to amplify a fading melody. Other times it might be a subtle adjustment to an instrument's tuning, allowing the entire ensemble to resonate more purely. Personalized medicine in its truest form seeks to understand the unique score of your particular orchestra. It asks, what are the inherent strengths and vulnerabilities of your cellular machinery? What are the subtle variations in your receptors, enzymes and transporters that might alter a drug's absorption, distribution, metabolism or excretion? By answering these questions, we move closer to prescribing not just a drug, but the right drug, at the right dose, at the right time for you. It is an act of deep respect for individual biological identity, a recognition that while we share a common blueprint, our expressions of that blueprint are infinitely varied and wonderfully unique. Consider the profound implications of this approach. No longer is the therapeutic journey a trial and error quest, fraught with the potential for adverse reactions or insufficient efficacy. Instead, it becomes a more informed, more gentle intervention, guided by the intimate knowledge of your genetic predispositions and physiological nuances. We minimize the dissonance, enhance the harmony, and allow the body's own healing wisdom to take center stage, supported rather than overridden. This holistic perspective extends beyond the molecular dance within us. It invites us to contemplate the intricate interplay between our internal landscapes and the external world. The food we consume, the air we breathe, the sunlight that graces our skin, the rhythms of our sleep, the connections we forge with others, all these environmental factors weave themselves into the grand tapestry of our health. They influence the expression of our genes, the activity of our enzymes, and the sensitivity of our receptors, subtly modifying the terrain upon which drugs exert their effects. Pharmacology, then, is not merely the study of chemicals and their actions, but a lens through which we can appreciate the exquisite interconnectedness of all life. It becomes a dialogue, a conversation between the crafted molecule and the ancient living system. When we speak of network pharmacology, we are acknowledging that a drug's influence rarely remains confined to a single target. Like a stone dropped into a still pond, its ripples extend outward, touching multiple pathways, interacting with various cellular components, and ultimately influencing the delicate balance of the entire organism. Understanding these cascading effects, predicting their trajectory and harnessing them for therapeutic benefit requires a profound shift in perspective, from reductionist to systemic, from isolated parts to the integrated whole. This deeper understanding also brings with it a renewed appreciation for the art of healing, an art that complements the rigorous science of pharmacology. The most effective interventions are not just about the right molecule, but about the right context, the right timing, and the compassionate understanding of the individual's entire life situation. The subtle art of observation, the empathetic ear, the wisdom to know when to intervene and when to allow the body's natural processes to unfold. These are invaluable components of a truly personalized and holistic approach to well-being. As we stand on the cusp of this new era, the field of pharmacology is transforming. It is evolving from a discipline focused solely on disease modification to one that increasingly emphasizes health optimization and resilience building. Precision prevention, fueled by our deepening understanding of individual predispositions, aims to anticipate potential imbalances before they manifest as illness. It is about nurturing the body's innate capacity for health, gently guiding it towards its most harmonious state, rather than waiting for discord to erupt. This journey, however, is one of perpetual learning and humble inquiry. The complexity of the human biological system is vast, its secrets still largely unveiled. We are constantly discovering new interactions, new pathways, new nuances in the molecular dance. This inherent uncertainty is not a limitation but an invitation to remain curious, to question, to explore, with an open mind and a reverent heart. It reminds us that science is not about definitive answers handed down, but about the ongoing collaborative quest for deeper understanding. And so, as we conclude our exploration of these profound principles, we invite you to carry this sense of wonder, this appreciation for the intricate beauty of life, into the quietude of your own being. The knowledge we have shared is not meant to be a heavy burden of facts, but a gentle illumination, a soft glow that reveals the miraculous inner workings of the human form. Each cell, a city of molecular machinery, each interaction, a whispered conversation, each drug, a potential key to unlock greater harmony. May this journey through the Dreamy Academy leave you not only with new insights into pharmacology, but with a deeper sense of peace and connection to the incredible universe within you. Allow these thoughts to settle, to integrate, to become a part of your own understanding of the world. The intricate dance of molecules, the silent symphony of cells, the profound wisdom embedded in every fibre of your being, these are truths that resonate long after the last word is spoken. We've journeyed together through the vast landscapes of cellular communication, receptor diversity, the body's processing of medicines, and the delicate art of drug action. We have explored the unique tapestry of individual responses and the promise of a future where medicine is as unique as you are. Now, as the soft light of understanding envelops you, we invite you to release any lingering thoughts, to let go of the need to grasp or analyze. Simply be with the wonder, with the calm, with the quiet rhythm of your own breath. The magnificent complexity of pharmacology, when viewed through the lens of reverence and awe, transforms from a daunting subject into a captivating narrative of life itself. It is a story of exquisite design, of dynamic adaptation, and of the endless quest for balance. And in this understanding we find not only knowledge, but a profound sense of peace. Rest now, knowing that within you, an ancient and intelligent system orchestrates a symphony of life, ceaselessly working to maintain its perfect intricate balance. And as you prepare to drift into deeper repose, carry with you the gentle wisdom that sometimes the most powerful intervention is simply to listen, to understand, and to harmonize with the body's own profound intelligence. Let the whispers of molecular ballets and the echoes of cellular conversations lull you into a state of deep restorative sleep. The journey of discovery continues, even in your dreams.